For today's commission, I've been sent a human tooth in the mail. Somehow that tracks for me. Unfortunately, it broke in transit, but that's alright, we can just glue it back together real quick. I've been asked to put this tooth inside of a die for its owner, resting on a layer of translucent red resin. With most commissions, I could send pictures of some red color options for the person to pick from, and then get straight to pouring a die, but when I'm working with something that's special to someone, or that I don't have a backup of, unique items like this tooth, I want to make sure that what I end up making the first time is exactly what the person wants. Don't get me wrong, I think a big part of doing commissions right is making sure you're starting out on the same page as the person getting something from you. For almost every commission, I send pictures of color options, and sometimes I'll do preliminary drawings to help give people a sense of what I'm picturing. But sometimes you just won't know how something will look till it's made. And that's where prototyping comes in. In the case of this die, I've got a bunch of different red colors, so I want to make sure I use the right one. Which one will best complement the tooth? It's hard to tell without actually making the die. We're gonna need some fake teeth. Polymer clay seems like a pretty simple material to use for these. They aren't particularly realistic teeth that I made. I tried to mix some transparent clay in with the white to match the slight transparency in the actual tooth, but they just ended up looking white. And I didn't paint them at all, so they're very one color, but they don't need to be super realistic. This is just a rough draft to get an idea for the final thing. For our prototyping, I'm going to be putting these fake teeth into some D6s to see how they look on the various different red backgrounds. I decided that D6s would be best because it's easier to see into a D6 than it is into a D20, and because I like to throw in some extra bonus things with commissioned D20s, like a D6 and or a keychain. So whichever color we decide on, I can just throw that D6 in there. These are 3 of my most different but suitable red colors, so we'll try them out to see which we like the best. Yes, this one looks bright pink currently, but I swear it'll cure a nice bright red color. Alright, we'll pour a little layer of each of those into our D6 molds. And now that those layers are cured, we'll just add those fake teeth in there. This is just a little bit of white glue to help tack them down and keep them in place. That's pretty much the design, so top that off with some clear resin. And we'll let them cure. Alright, here's our options. I do like all of these, but when I sent a picture off to the person commissioning the die, they picked the middle bright red color. A good choice. Now that we have a plan, I think we're ready to make the actual die. We've done it once before with the prototype D6, so now we know exactly what we're doing. Just like before, we'll mix up that red resin and fill up the mold a little less than halfway. I'm using a pipette in this case because I want to make sure I'm accurate with where I place the resin. We want a nice sharp layer without any drips up the side. Alright, the red is cured, so let's get the tooth put in there. Just like with the fake teeth, we'll add a little bit of glue to help tack that in place. This is the moment of truth. We're going in with the actual thing. Now that that glue's dried, let's add our clear resin. Lid on, and off into the pressure pot to cure. It's been about 24 hours letting that cure, and it's time to unmold. Oh, phew. That's always a bit nerve-wracking with these dice that need to turn out right the first time. Sometimes there's dice that just end up with big bubbles for no reason, or things come detached and float, so I'm glad that didn't happen with this one. Okay, let's get this thing sanded and polished. all shiny. I did something a bit different with the inking on this die, that is, filling in the numbers. You see, the commissioner of the die asked for gold numbers, which this obviously is not gold, but there's a reason for that. Whatever color I first ink a clear die will show up on the inside of the die. So if I paint these numbers gold straight up, the gold number on top will blend in with the gold numbers on the inside, and the red resin might end up looking a bit orange with the gold paint behind it, but by painting the numbers white before adding a layer of gold, we don't have those issues. The white is more neutral. The goal is that, in the final die, you won't even notice it. And there you have it! A D20 with a human tooth inside. I do want to go ahead and thank the person who commissioned this D20. I love doing these highly specific commissions, and I'm especially honored to be trusted with making something unique and important like this. I also want to go ahead and thank my wonderful patrons who make videos like this possible. Here's all of their names on the screen right now. I'll post some behind the scenes photos of making this D20 over on my Patreon, so if that's something that interests you, maybe consider checking out my Patreon. Since this was a commission, I'll be posting those behind the scenes photos for free, so anyone can view them whether you decide to pay for a tier or not. I do want to mention that I'm done taking a little bit of a short break and my commissions are now back open again, so if you'd like to get something custom from me, feel free to shoot me an email or check out the link to my commission prices in the description of the video. Thanks again for tagging along while making this D20. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!